Hi guys, it's Mark here from Newbie Prepping. A lot of people are probably searching or trying to find out the basic question for preppers, and that is when to bug out. Now I know Rich has mentioned it to me when we were doing a camp. He was like saying, "Oh, I'm glad you're the one who's going to decide on when we're bugging out." I know this is the $1 million question, or £1 million question. When to bug out in a situation? It literally depends on the situation, your environment, and I would say your intuition. It is a personal thing. Someone could decide to bug out at a certain point, and someone could decide to leave it a little bit longer. And so I wanted to go over some of the things for you to make that decision, because there's not going to be a YouTuber on Prepper who's going to go onto YouTube and say, "Now's the time you need to bug out," unless they're live streaming. If they're live streaming, yes, they probably could do that. Reason being is because there's a lot of preppers on YouTube, and we're all over the world. Different things happen in different countries at a different time. So if you was in Canada or America, which is like 5 to 9 hours, depending on what side, difference. Things happen at a different time, so they're going to be thinking, "Oh, shit's hit the fan, I need to get out of here." So they're probably not going to have enough time to actually upload the video, because uploading videos can take up to half an hour to an hour, depending on how long they are. So you're not going to find a prepper, I believe, you're not going to find someone who, unless they're live streaming, who would actually put a video up just as he's bugging out. So the answer to the question, what you're seeking, you're never really going to find. But what we can do is to help you make that decision. So this is what this video is going to be about, is helping you to make that decision if it's time to bug out or bug in, or whatever your decision is and whatever your scenario you're preparing for comes about. So hopefully you're sitting watching a number of different channels, and you're getting geared up with all your prep stuff, your food supplies. Hopefully you've not gone overboard on what you're going to be bugging out with, and you can actually physically carry what will be your essentials, plus some luxuries and other bits of kit what you're going to need. So hopefully you got all that, and there's plenty of YouTubers, and we've done some videos of what you should think of to put into your bug out bags and stuff. Now, this is where we get into the bit more harder stuff. Bugging out or bugging in, depending on what you're going to do. There's a couple key factors. Now, if you're going to be bugging into your home, you're going to make sure you've got enough supplies, food to last you, water, and other pieces of kit, what you're going to need. So if you have medical issues, you need to make sure you've got tablets to last you for a set period of time. Now, that time also depends on what's happening in the world or in your area to determine how long you're going to be bugging out for. Now, So you need your medical supplies, and you probably know we've already gone over this, but this is just to refresh your memory, because this is about bugging in or out and when to do it. So you've got to make sure you've got everything. If you haven't got if you haven't got the stuff that you actually need, then you're going to struggle bugging in, bugging out. You know, you're going to need your food to last you for the set period of what you're going to be bugging in, bugging out for. So once you've got all that sorted out, you've done the first stage, you know. And now the next bit is we're going to take different scenarios and what to do. So with the most recent thing what has happened is the pandemic. Generally, preppers would bug in on the first stages of a pandemic because you can isolate yourself a lot easier than bugging out. Now, as you probably know, I live in Northern Ireland. We obviously saw what was going on in the UK, and 2 weeks before the actual lockdown happened, officially by the government, we already put ourselves in lockdown. You know, we stayed at home. We took the child out of school, and the reason why we did that is our eldest girl has underlying problems, and so she would be more at risk of any virus what could happen. So we made a conscious decision, right, we're going to bug out now. People thought we was mad, especially the schools, and they turned around and said, well, we can cover for 2 weeks, but we're going to have to let the school board authority know. That's right, you can do that. Then the lockdown happened, and then they realised that we was ahead of the curve. Now, the coronavirus itself, even though it's really only really affected in a mortality way the vulnerable, you know, people with underlying health issues. But the problem with this one, it's the incubation period was like 2 weeks. So someone could have it with 2 weeks and they pass it on asymptomatic before anyone would know they could catch it. So hence why we bugged in at least 2 weeks before the lockdown. Now, if you make that decision, make sure you've got your supplies, make sure you've got the means to sustain yourself, the money to look after all your bills, because they're still going to have to be paid. We was in that position, so that's what we done. If the virus was a lot worse in its mortality rate, and it was a more lethal strain. Now, obviously, you got empty streets already because of the lockdown. Yeah, but there's a lot more people dying, so you're still going to have emergency services dashing around and stuff like that. The longer you stay in, the longer you're going to stay protected. So every time you go outside that door, you're introducing the risk. So be prepared to bug in for a long time. Your bug out plan should have a period of time, and you should have caches elsewhere what you can get to if you needed to bug out eventually. Now, bugging in is always advisable for a pandemic because you can contain your environment a lot easier. Or if you're bugging out to a location, I wouldn't recommend bugging out to a forest, because you don't know who's going to just walk up. They could be infected, and obviously if it was a more serious strain, it leads to more problems. Right, so that's the pandemic side, semi-covered. We're going to cover the other possible scenarios now. So monetary collapse, martial law is coming from either a monetary collapse or the coronavirus or any other virus what may come about, they're like somewhat similar sort of situation. Monetary collapse, obviously there's not going to be much on the shelves, but you've still got all your stock, all your supplies. Now, the time to bug out is when you deem it's not safe for you to be where you are. Yeah. Now, be very positive in what you do and your actions. You know. Now, if you've got rioting going on, yeah, then obviously this is based around England, because around the world you've got rioting for different reasons. Obviously, you've got the yellow vest movement in France. You got Black Lives Matter and Antifa and all the jargon's going off in America, and obviously around Europe you've got the momentum going on. Now these are protests as well as rioting, so I'm not saying all of these are directly rioters, but they're protesting, and quite often protesting does lead into rioting, and I'm not saying who's at fault, who's not at fault, but things just get heated and things happen, which is wrong, but it does happen. Now, if these happen, you've got to decide, when am I going to go? Now, a couple of things you've got to think of is, are the streets safe for me to go? Am I going to be stopped by the police, by gangs, you know, who are going around looting and causing destruction? And it is happening. If you're not from the UK and you're like from America, am I going to get shot? You know, am I going to get beaten up? Am I going to get hurt in any way? So when you decide to bug out, you've got to think of the safest way for me to get from where I am to where I want to go. You know, so have your plan, have your maps, and work out the best way. Because obviously, if you're in America and the rioting's going on, rioters move around. You know, so don't just have, right, I'm going to go down this street, do a left, straight down to the traffic lights, do a right, straight on to the destination. We know that's not going to work unless the streets are completely empty, you know. And if you're going out at night, if you don't want no one knowing where you're going, you've got to take precautions. Now, if you're taking precautions, you would go out, and if you've got infrared goggles, drive with no lights on. You know, you can see everyone, no one can see you, but just obviously it is against the law, so if you are caught, you know. But if it's that situation, and like the far left get their way and defund the police, and there's no police around, it's just gangs, then there's no law there to uphold if it's all been defunded, which is bonkers. But anyway, so you've got empty streets, potentially. Drive with no lights, or knock the back lights out so no one can see where you've gone off to. You know, you can always see someone coming, because generally they would have lights on. You can always avoid them. If you haven't got the rear lights on, they can't see you. Now, that's bugging out for like a pandemic or monetary collapse. If you're going out at night, be safe. Martial law is another one. If you're bugging out and there's martial law in place, there's going to be police patrolling. So you need to think of, how am I going to get around the martial law lockdown where I'm supposed to be in my house? If you don't trust the martial law, how it's going on, then obviously you would want to get out to a bug out location. And you would need to make all the precautions of avoiding helicopters what could be flying overhead, because believe me, they would have like infrared, they would have night vision, they'd be able to see vehicles going around, because the engine would give off a heat signature. So there's drones what can do the same thing now. So you might not hear it, but you might see it. Now, obviously, there are ways of masking you when you're walking around from heat signatures, but you won't be able to mask your car as well, unless you're under a bridge or go through a waterfall type of thing. So that's that side of when when to go is when you feel it's not safe any longer for where you are, and that's the main thing about bugging out. If you deem it not safe, bug out or bug in. Go to where you're gonna be going. Just have your radio to keep tabs on what's going on. So that's that side of things. Now we're going to go on to other forms of worst case scenarios. If you're a group of people, you're going to have a plan on how you're going to bug out or when you're going to bug out. Now, for me and the guys and girls in my group, we got all like a WhatsApp, and it's time to go. Boom. That's very good. What if there's a EMP what goes off? My phone's no good. So how am I going to do that? Now over in Ireland, well, Northern Ireland, should I say? We do get a lot of power cuts, and it's quite normal for us to go a good couple of hours without electric. Now, potential problem there, if the power goes up, first thing what comes to mind, where's the power out? Now, what do I do? Do I be alert? Do I start getting ready? One, I'm going to check my phone, or a torch will be around. If that's working, I know it's not an EMP pulse, or a solar flare. So now is this going to be a blackout for a extensive length of time, or is it just going to be another one of those things where what we have in Northern Ireland, where the power goes out for 2 or 3 hours, then it comes back on. It's just like Harry Potter. You can just zap and it comes back. So again, because we have power cuts, what could last a couple of hours, we're suspecting that. So our decision to bug out or bug in will be delayed. If it's in the morning and the electric goes out and we've not heard anything, because we could ring, you can obviously, if it's just locally, we can go use our phones to go to ring someone else outside the area and to see if they've got electric, what's happening. But if it is a bug out, you've got to think of night time would be a bad time to go, because you'd have opportunists, unless you live out in the countryside almost, or on the borders of the cities. If you live smack dab in the middle of London, I would not recommend going out on that first night, because you're guaranteed that you're going to get someone looting, because it's like, aha, there's no electric. That means there's no security system, i.e. I can do what I want. Greed and the potential of they believe they can make money by stealing other people's stuff. Great. So, if you live in the middle towns, I would not recommend going out at night. If you probably would know the phrase "grey man," During the day would be a good time to go, just to put your backpack on. Obviously, it's not if it's a tactical backpack and you're full of stuff and you're clumping down the road, you know, you're going to draw attention to yourself. If you're packing up your big van or your mini bus and it's full of everyone, someone sees you packing full of food, what's going on here? You've got to be discreet, don't forget. Now, you decided on it's time to go. Your environment will dictate how you're going to go. You know, if you're going by a boat, if you live near the coast or near a river, your environment will, if you live in the country, it's easier, you can go across country if you know like where farmhouses to avoid, you know, or take country lanes. So knowing your environment would definitely help you. So if you just moved, go out for walks, go and, you know, long walks. Just like, well, I'm going to go down here, have a walk, see what's around, and do a walk around for, you know, half hour each direction from where you live. It's half an hour. You'd be surprised how far you can walk in half an hour, you know. And obviously it is reduced when you're carrying gear or you've got other stuff. But if you walk for half an hour and then go back, you know that route, you know, and do it a couple of times. So the next one, so bugging out, it's when, like, in those situations, it's when you feel it's unsafe where you are. Now, for the other type of scenarios, so these are natural disasters of some one or two different kinds or multiple types. I'm putting two different categories here. So you've got Earth's natural disasters, which would be storms, tornadoes, hurricanes, earthquakes, volcanoes, tsunami. So everything that's on the planet, this is this section. So obviously I'm based in England, and England floods. It floods a lot. For a small island, we do get a lot of flooding, and there's been many cases where people have still been caught out about flooding, which does surprise me a bit, because they flooded last year or the year before. They get a warning that a storm's coming, and they're shocked that they got flooded again. And the story carries on. So if you know there's a flood and there's a potential risk, you know, of your life being in danger, bug out, hit the high land somewhere, move further inland where you're more elevated, or further away from the coast. If you're obviously, if for an earthquake, you don't really get to know when an earthquake is going to happen, but you would take precautions on the earthquake drills, what you would normally do. If like America and stuff like that, obviously UK, we only get like small little tremors when earthquakes do happen, and it's never it's not really serious, thankfully, touch wood. Obviously we do get hurricane storms hit, where we get a lot of wind damage. Don't go out. If you know there's a hurricane storm coming in, why are you going out? Just stay in. Again, bug in. You'd be surprised how many people want to go out and film it and show, oh look, I've got a selfie with a hurricane wave hitting the shore. But each to their own. Now, again, with natural ones, potential ones, what could affect England, Mount St Helens. Now, I know this is in America, but obviously if it does erupt, it's going to be a major eruption, being a super volcano, and we will see the effects of it maybe the next day, where all the dust is in the air is blocking out the sun. Do you know? So we will get the effects of it. So you've got to be prepared for that. So potentially the dust could stay in the air for a good 2 years. If the dust is in the air and it's blocking out the sun, that means there's not going to be a good crop growth. So quite a lot of crops will fail. Means there'd be a food shortage. And it would, as you can see, it escalates along as time goes on. So again, at the beginning, think of bugging in. If it's dangerous where you are, bug out. But be prepared. If there is a dust cloud, the temperatures will drop. You know, so if you are bugging out and you're in the forest, make sure that you've thought of the temperature drop. You know, don't think, oh, we're coming into summer, it's going to be fine. Well, you might find that the temperature drops enough where you're not fine. So that's that. We've done flooding, earthquakes. Earthquakes what cause a tsunami. Now, some people think that the UK will be okay because we don't really get earthquakes what causes tsunami. You never know. Obviously, the higher you are above sea level, the better for you. You know, or further inland, the better for you. And again, it's one of those ones. We could be quite lucky. We will get a bit of warning if we get the warning. But if you suddenly see the tide rapidly going out, and it just looks like it's being sucked away, don't stay on the beach. Don't stay anywhere near that coastline. Get away from the coast as fast as you can, because it's common knowledge that obviously the wave draws all the water away, then it comes crashing back. So don't be near the coast. If you notice that, run. Get out of the coastal towns as quick as possible. Now, I think there's wildfires. We do get some in the UK, but we are quite lucky. They do get controlled quite quickly. But again, if you know a fire's coming, bug out. You know, so it could be different depending on where you are in the world. Now, natural disasters outside the planet. So these will be asteroids, meteorites, solar flares. Now, believe me, there are hundreds of asteroids out there, thousands, billions of asteroids out there. And there's a little diagram here, just showing you of some which NASA and scientists have got this nice way of saying, oh, a near miss. It comes so close. Unfortunately, them saying that actually scares people, because them saying it would come so close in light years, it's like, oh, it was 5 light years away. That's really close, flyby. But a light year is a long way. You know, I think the ones what you really need to be concerned of are ones what come between us and the moon. They're the ones what should raise an eyebrow, because us and the moon, one, we will really see it in the sky. Two, that is damn close. You know. Now, obviously, if one's flying that sort of distance to like Jupiter's magnetic pull might just drag it into itself, you know, or it might change its orbit or its direction, and we won't know until it's already changed. And we've not really got the technology to watch it happen straight away. So we have to take a picture, then another picture, then another picture, then calculate if it's changed. And that takes time. If a meteorite hits the ground, what can I say? Meteorites hit the ground every day, really. And often we don't know about. But potentially there's the ones what we do hear about, like Tsunami. I've cannibalised that, I know. Where it hit in Russia. That was, I believe that one went over and it was like an airburst or it hit the ground. But with something like that, you're not really going to get much notice, but we know roughly what the effects will be. Now, if you see a meteorite burning up in the sky and it's going to the east, I would say go to the west. I would I bug out? Obviously, because that's coming down to the ground. I probably would say take cover, because obviously you don't know how far away that's going to explode, and just have your fingers crossed. Because if you're on the road and the shockwave catches up with you, if it was a big one, you would have less of a chance. If you're protected by good sturdy walls, you may have a better chance. Obviously, you just got to worry about if it was close enough to shatter all the glass. Right, so that's all the scenarios. And I know it was a bit long-winded, but there was a lot of things to cover there. And each one deems a different time to either bug out. Now, if you do decide to bug out, and you got your group, make sure you're all together. Make sure you know where your meeting point is, and what you're going to be doing. Hopefully, things will be okay for you to bug out in a safe way, because this one is a very sensitive topic at the moment, and that's the way society is changing, and it's happening more so in America, but you are seeing it in the UK, because whatever happens in America, good or bad, comes over to the UK. And majority of the time it's all good stuff, like boy bands, girl bands. I remember when the first DVD came out, you heard about it in America, and then they come out over here. As I said, this is a delicate subject, and it's the way society is changing, and it's not changing in a good way. Now, I'm going to show a little clip now of wokeness, the demographics of certain types of people forcing their will and demanding everyone to believe in what they believe. And you need to follow us or you're the enemy. Now this is, as you see this video, this is appalling. What happened to this woman, and I would be right with her. There would be no way, right? If I don't support something, I shouldn't be forced to support it. And this is what's happening now. I don't know off the top of my head if my ancestors had anything to do with the slave trade. Right? I don't know. I grew up next to black people, went to school with black people, we had the same education. For me, he's just another person. I have white skin, he's got black skin. There was Chinese, in my school. There was Indian, there was Sikhs, I believe there was, I'm not too sure if there was someone who was Buddhist, I don't know. But for me as a child growing up, I didn't care what someone believed in, you know. I was going through school, I was learning, I'm there trying to have as much fun as possible. Yeah. So now growing up, having people forcing me to support something that I don't believe in, I don't believe what they're doing is correct, is wrong. And you saw this years ago in China, where the Communist Party took over, and if you was Christian, Muslim, anything apart from what the state said, you was the enemy. Yeah. You had to be rehabilitated in thinking the same as everyone else. Do you know, it's wrong. We should be free to make our own decisions, to live our lives how we want, as long as we're not doing harm, of course. Now, what's going on in America is appalling, you know, and there's something behind it, and it's not the killing of a black person, you know, and it's not the mistreatment of black people in custody. Do you know what I mean? It's not just that, because if they wanted to promote a certain life matters, I'm not going to deem it, you know. If they wanted to promote that, then why aren't they backing that up by the shops what they're attacking? Because quite a lot of the shops what they're attacking, or majority of the shops what they're attacking, they're black people who own the shops. Their livelihood's just been destroyed. But it leads to a civil war, because you've got one side who blatantly wants to break the law, and then you've got the other side, and it is going to cause a civil war. And civil war in America, I know this is a bit far-fetched. If it happens in America, it will happen here. Just because the way things are. Someone's not allowed to say that they're white and proud, you know, because that's racist. They're not allowed to express or to say what you're doing is wrong, because you're anti-establishment. You would be, you know, if you don't go with what's happening with Antifa or Black Lives Matter, or even in some stages Momentum, you know, I know they're all about the environment, and they're saying, oh, we've got to change. That's fine, you know, but don't try and force everyone to go with what you're doing, you know, and it will cause a civil war, and which is a very dangerous thing, because you need to bug out from that, you know. And if a civil war happens, you know, you got to look at your own group, you know. Hopefully your group is all like-minded, you know. You could have the entire group could be left-wing, the entire group could be centre, and all your entire group could be right-wing. As long as you share the same values and views, there won't be no animosity when you bug out. Because when you bug out, it will be stressful. It will test your patience. You're going to be potentially, if you're camping out in a world somewhere and you've made a camp somewhere, you're not really going to get a good night's sleep, because you're not going to be able to take your bed. You know, so you're either going to be on a blow-up bed, you're going to be in a hammock, sleeping bag, ground mat. Over a period of time, the aches and pains are going to be there. You're not going to sleep that well, and it will start affecting you. I know this is just about bugging out, but these are other factors what you do need to look at. So practice, you know, go out camping, you know, get a tent and go down, like, you know, go, you know, anywhere. There's loads of places to go to in the United Kingdom, and if you live in America, you've got amazing places to go, and Europe's the same. Go camping for a week and you'll start feeling the effects of just 1 week. You will need to be doing this for a long time, so you need to make sure you're comfortable wherever you are, you know, for a long period of time, potentially. We've got about nuclear war or war. Now, war is obviously a build-up to a war. In this day and age, will there be a nuclear war? I don't know. I think the threat of nuclear war is more now a deterrent for a nuclear war, because no one will win, and there's been quite a few times where things could have escalated in that way, and they just seem to fizzle out. And do you know what I mean? Yes, you might have a crackpot from some two-bit country making or creating a nuclear bomb and detonate it, but having a bomb go off or a couple of bombs go off is not a nuclear war. So yeah, so it's one of those things where, would it be like, will we go to war with Russia or Japan? Maybe, but it might not be a nuclear war. It might be a conflict. China could invade Taiwan. America would intercept. Would there be quite a lot of cruise missiles going off? Most definitely. Would they launch nuclear weapons? Don't know. It'd be a very last resort. Depends who's the president, you know. With Trump at the moment, I very much doubt it. If we had Hillary Clinton on the other hand, we could have been at war with Russia already. Just, that's what I believe. So the rhetoric, what they normally come up with, you need to see what their actions are. Now, Donald Trump is a businessman, so he will hit them with money. He will stop the funding on money, and quite often that is enough to deter any escalation, because now they're being hit in their pocket, and hitting someone in their pocket is 10 times worse than actually a physical assault. Yeah. Yes, there's going to be like little skirmishes, but you know, it's a nuclear war. I find it very hard to see a nuclear war actually happening, because no one wins and the planet will be destroyed, and two countries going head to head, if there's not going to be a winner, do you know what I mean? It's common. I can't believe I'm going to say this, but common sense should prevail, even though you should be saying it's uncommon sense, because common sense doesn't really exist, because common sense goes out the window with 99% of the public, of people. So yeah, so I'm not going to put money on, because you never know. You could have you could have the wrong president, and all of a sudden we're at war. Will they launch first? I would hope not, but if there's going to be a war, it'd be more conventional weapons, because I don't think any of them would want to be the one to destroy the world, and that's what it would be, you know. So back that's enough from me. I've gone on quite a long time. Again, I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you found the information viable, and why if you typed up on Google when to bug out, you don't really get the answer what you're looking for, is because there's no real answer for it. It's your personal choice. You may not really got the answers what you wanted from this. It's like, when do I bug out? But the answer is when you deem it unsafe where you are. You know, we have all got a different opinion on how safe you might feel. If you decide to go right at the beginning or right at the end, obviously you've got to bear in mind that if you think it's unsafe, I'm not sure. If you think it's unsafe, then it's going to be unsafe. You know, if you think someone's going to be battering in your door, it's not going to be a safe place to be. You know, if you think by walking down the street that you're going to get mugged, looted because there's rioting going on, either stay indoors, barricade yourself in, or leave and go to another place for a few weeks. You know, one last thing. Just want to say thank you for all those who've left comments and liked and subscribed to our free t-shirt giveaway. One thing what I've realised afterwards is we didn't put an end date. So the end date for the free t-shirt will be the end of September 2020. So the last day of September is when we're going to close that one off. You'll see the link above me here if you want to enter in on that video. Again, to get the free t-shirt for 100 subscribers is just to like it, be a subscriber and leave a comment, and we will pull out the name electronically on a computer algorithm or a little thing what Rich does, and we will put up a video in the first week of October announcing who the winner is. Like and subscribe that video about the free t-shirt, and once again thank you. So obviously I know I've been rambling and it's been quite a while, and obviously these pictures been flung up, but if you liked or thought this was interesting and you want to show your support, give a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button and hit that bell button for the next videos what we do. So keep practicing, keep safe and have fun until next time. Good night, good afternoon, see you soon. Bye.